What's good, everybody? This is Ted, and I usually talk bass. As I mentioned in a previous video, I want to diversify this channel just a little bit, staying within the realm of bass, but also talking about some other stuff. This is bass related for sure. I think that one of the things that people struggle with most with playing the bass in particular is rhythm. This is a great way to visualize time and rhythm, and so step sequencing in drum machine basics is what we're talking about today. So check it out. If you like this kind of content, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button if you like it, leave a comment below, and don't forget to support the channel if you like the content by purchasing a product or hitting an affiliate link or something like that. So anyway, let's get into it, man. I teach music tech at the school that I work at, and we just started talking about drum machine basics and sequencing patterns and stuff like that. And so I also find that this concept is really useful for bass players and aspiring bass players. If you're watching this channel, I assume that's what brought you here. One of the things that I think that people struggle with a lot when it comes to music, but in particular playing the bass, is understanding rhythm. I'm using Logic Pro right now. In my school, I use BandLab, which is a free software, but I'm big on principles and concepts. The concepts are going to still be the same. It's just like the principles and concepts of anything. Driving, for instance, whether you drive a Ferrari, a Tesla, or a Corolla, the concepts of driving are going to be the same. So when I think about step-based sequencing, you've seen one, you've pretty much seen them all, right? So some of you may have seen Anthony Wellington's concept. He calls it the yardstick of time and groove. Scott Devine calls it groove grids. I've seen it called other things where somebody uses a ruler to teach rhythm. It's a very effective way of teaching rhythm. This is no different. It's also a pretty effective way of teaching people how to read standard notation, but we won't get too deep off into that in this video. So here is something that may be visually overwhelming. As bass players, we typically read one line. We typically see one line of music. So we'll concentrate on one row at a time. Let's just focus our eyes here on this purple row up at the top. That happens to be the kick drum. It could be any sound, but for this set of instruments in this drum kit, it's the kick drum, right? So let's break it down. There are 4 columns here, and that may be hard to, like I said, it could be visually overwhelming for some people, but let's break it down one at a time, and I'll light these squares up. There's beat number 1. This column here is beat number 1. The second column is beat number 2. Third column, beat number 3, and the fourth column is beat number 4. Now this is a 1 measure pattern. 4 beats in a measure of 4/4. If we were writing that in standard notation, we would have 4 quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. If I play this pattern, we've got a 4 on the floor pattern. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just looping over and over and over again. Right? So there's a simple pattern. Now, you'll see that each column has 4 squares. Those represent the 16th notes. Over here in the top right corner of this window, we see it says 16 steps. All that means is we've got 4 beats, 4 16th notes in each beat, 16 steps, right? Now on the kick drum, we'll put 4, we'll just have those 4 beats. Now let's look at the hi-hat. And if we scroll down here just a little bit, we see a closed hi-hat. That happens to be that sound. Let's put the same quarter note pattern on those 4 beats, right? Pretty simple, just like our bass lines would be. Now let's put a snare hit on beat 2 and beat 4. Now we'll have something that's a little bit more recognizable. What I like about being able to see this is we see the pattern. We see it, and we don't. It's not as abstract, all right, as it would be if we weren't able to see it on a grid. Now that's pretty simple and pretty groovy, all on its own, that one measure pattern. But let's now make the hi-hat pattern a little bit more interesting by turning it into an 8th note pattern. What does that mean? So the first square, now we're looking at the hi-hat row, this light blue row, or I don't know what color you call that, teal. If this is beat 1, the second square is the E of beat 1. The third square is the and of beat number 1. The fourth square is the of beat number 1. So if I want to make an 8th note pattern, I would light up the square, the third square of beat number 1, the third square of beat number 2, the third square of beat number 3, and the third square of beat number 4, which gives us this pattern. And it's something that we all recognize. It is a standard drum beat, right? Millions of songs are written that have this drum beat. All right. So I also, just to thicken it up a little bit, I'm going to put claps on 2 and 4 as well. Just to thicken up those snare hits a little bit. But let's say we want to put another instrument in here. And I'm going to randomize where I put this. So I'll put let's put a bongo or conga hit on the and of beat 1, the E of beat 2, the and of beat 3, and the of beat 4. Super random. I just chose those by chance. So what we want to know importantly is 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and every step-based sequencer that you see, whether it's Logic, GarageBand, Studio One, BandLab, the concepts are going to still be the same, right? The visual, the user interface may look a little bit different, but it's going to be the same. So let's see what that sounds like. Not too shabby. Simple pattern. And we put other stuff on there. So let's get a shaker in there. Put that on the 1E, 2E, 3E, 4E. One of the things I do like to tell my students is if their pattern looks too cluttered, it will probably sound too cluttered, which won't give us space for things, for other elements, other instruments. So if I'm just building a drum pattern, I may keep it pretty simple, especially if I'm just in the songwriting mode. I may keep that drum pattern pretty simple. So now that seems a bit much, those shakers. So let's take the downbeats out and just have them on the E of each beat. Now, this may seem like a super rudimentary, regular beat, right? And it is. But once we start laying other things on top of it, it's going to provide a really great, solid foundation for other things. How does this apply to bass? You know, of course, you want to know chord tones. Of course, you want to know your scale tones and things like that. But we're talking about rhythm right now. It's really important to start off with the rhythm first. I'm not sure I said it at the very beginning of this video, but in my experience, rhythm is the most challenging things for people who want to get into music, period. Not just bass, but particularly bass players, because they hear all these things and they hear all these ideas and different things like that, but they don't really have a solid understanding of rhythm. And this type of exercise gives you a visual representation of rhythm. So one of the things that I've found that helped me be a better bass player is playing other instruments and exploring software and things like that. So give this a try with the DAW of your choice. I just wanted to make a quick video, not anything in depth at all, but just something really, really quick to show you one way to look at this. You know, in the ruler example that I was talking about earlier, this is just represented with a diagram that looks like a ruler. This is the same concept, just, you know, using squares or rectangles to represent musical time. So again, we've got 4 columns. Here's column number 1, here's column 2, column 3, and column 4, which represent beats. And then each column has 4 squares, which represent 16th notes. And so hopefully that'll give you a little bit of a start. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you watching. If you like the channel, if you like the content, go on and click that like button, that subscribe button, and leave a comment below. If you have any questions, please, by all means, let me know. And I will see you in the next video. All right. Peace. 2 fingers.